I went to a handful of different doctors. I had different imaging tests done. People had all sorts of wild, crazy ideas about what might be causing pain. And it was really only through meeting Ryan and taking the core balance training course that it has totally shifted and changed my entire life.
Just so thankful that Ryan took the steps to discover this for himself. I honestly do not know where I'd be right now if I hadn't have found this program.
Thanks for your interest in the Core Balance Training Program. I wanted to give you a little more insight into the program and how it works, and let you know just how it's a little bit different than your conventional back pain treatment or even exercise program. The overarching goal of Core Balance Training is to help you to reconnect with your core and make it a more part of your movement. It's a movement retraining program and not an exercise program. Movement is such a bigger part of our lives than the time that we spend exercising. Exercises can be useful for building strength and flexibility and endurance, but it's not really addressing the root of the problem with chronic back problems, which is unhealthy movement patterns. The goal is for you to be able to move through life in a healthier way.
I basically spent over 20 years learning how to manage back pain. Tried everything from acupuncture, craniosacral, neuromuscular.
I spent thousands of dollars on physical therapy, on Arasti therapy, on constant foam rolling and stretching, and I could just never get on top of the pain. I was just chasing it and chasing it. I had stopped running for a year. I had stopped lifting weights. I was just pretty much in constant pain. Any bending over movement or twisting was just killing me.
More than 8 years, I was trying different stuff, and I felt that something has to be very simple but actionable, and I believe this is our balance practice.
I went from having pain radiating down my leg regularly, not being able to do forward folds anymore, not being able to do a lot of the activities I wanted to do, to a spot now where I am back to basically doing everything that I want all the time. All of it is because of what I learned in the core balance training.
There's a difference between building strength, say in your abdominal muscles, and being connected to them in your movement in everyday life. The goal is to get back this connection to our core, to our source of power in our daily lives, and not just during the time that we're exercising.
Barely 2 months in, I still have several phases to go. I can feel my core being stronger than ever and connected. My body, my mind, it's all connected now, and there's so much more understanding in what is happening in my body, and it feels great mentally, physically. It just feels healthy, and it's so motivating that I know that I'm setting myself up for a pain-free future.
So yeah, what I got out of it is kind of my life back. So I have awareness of my core, I have awareness of what my core means in a much broader way than anybody had ever trained or taught me about before, and do all the activities that I used to do without pain.
I had been suffering from chronic back pain, and for the first time in 7 years, I can dance, I can lift weights, I can work construction all day without any pain. And I'm very grateful for this program.
The path to some level of relief was impossibly fast, literally a couple of days. The path to being up and around and back to work was faster than I've ever achieved in the past. And more importantly, long term, I feel like I can absolutely maintain this forever. 8 months later, I'm surfing, golfing, playing tennis, working hard, and moving with utter confidence.
One thing I could say about Ryan is he wants to bring the best out of people. And this program is more of a natural process than it is a workout.
We want to expand our core and make it bigger and a bigger part of our lives in everything that we do. This is what we do in the program. We help you to move towards what I like to call core dominance instead of limb dominance, which is where you use your limbs primarily in all your movements. And that's what makes this program unique. The key word is progression, and I believe that's what's lacking in a lot of conventional treatments. We guide you to accomplish this through a progression of 3 phases. Start developing awareness. the learning what your core feels like. Because it's one thing to know a definition, but a whole nother thing to know what it feels like to connect to something and to tune in. And we relearn healthy movement patterns from the ground up. And we progress you all the way to functional and complex movements. Doesn't matter what you're doing, whether that's the dishes or yard work or the way you're sitting in your seat right now, or even a high-level activity like sport. You're able to apply this stuff to your daily life so that those movements become good for your spine. They become like therapy for your core instead of damaging, because we're doing them in a healthy way. This program is a long-term, permanent solution to back pain, because we are actually transforming the way that we relate to our bodies, the way that we relate to our core, and the way that we move.
I will tell you, there's nothing I've ever seen like this before, because it's so much common sense involved. And the fact that when you start the program, you just take it step by step. And it's very small things to do every single day, which is the key to any habit change.
From the side, it looks like very simple, but what's behind that? It's very deep philosophy. I'm back now to the exercises, to yoga, to swimming and tennis with my daughter. I was like normal.
Like, his work has made a big difference in how I take care of my body and how I move my body. And it's made such a marked difference in my life.
The most amazing thing about this program is that it's essentially empowered me to be able to heal my own back.
What he offers targets directly the root cause of back pain, which for me is what makes it different than anything else that's out there. And it is a completely natural long-term solution. I'm incredibly grateful to Ryan and his program. I highly recommend his program. And I also really recommend Tim, because he's this brilliant man who deeply cares about you and has the knowledge and expertise to work with you one-on-one to heal and reverse the causes of your chronic lower back pain.
You know, his confidence and his experience really spoke to me about the program. You know, he's not teaching you anything that he hasn't already done himself to get through his problems with back pain. So I highly recommend it to anybody else who's thinking about joining it as well.
It was just the most amazing experience I've ever been through in my life. I have been in back pain since I was 21 years old, and I am 48. I am running, I am lifting weights, I am teaching physically to my clients again for the first time in over 20 years, where I can do just about anything I want to do, and I'm not afraid of it anymore.
I believe that this is possible for everyone. It doesn't matter how old you are or how active you are. We all have the same goal, and that's to get out of pain and get the life that we love back, to be able to do the things that we love. And I do believe that what stands in the way of the situation that you're in right now and where you want to be is a willingness to commit to changing strong habits and belief patterns, and the gracefulness to apply this stuff in your daily life. My job is to aid you in making that change to who you are and the way that you relate to this body.
It has been priceless. And the personal discoveries, the journey that I've had, the paths that it's led me to. I would encourage any of you who have back pain to give Core Balance a chance. It has been a blessing in my life.
Do yourself a favor and do this. It'll change your life. It changed mine. You and your family will thank you for it.
If you are at a point that you're considering any sort of drastic, some kind of invasive procedure, absolutely do this before you do anything else. It is worth every ounce of effort and time and money that you could put in to learn this through Core Balance training, and you'll get so much out of it in a short period of time that can last you for the rest of your life.
My greatest investment is in the many mentors and the personal education that helped me to get out of this downward spiral of back pain. I believe the same is possible for you.
Do not hesitate. it's just amazing. It is just amazing what this does. You will never regret this. I have been shocked and amazed at what has happened to my body. Thank you, Ryan, and anyone there who is just wondering what to do. Take the step. You won't regret it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever Without Pain Wednesday. I have no idea how this is going to go, and I can hear myself right now, so hold on one second. I have no idea how this is going to go, so there we go. So, the purpose of these Without Pain Wednesdays is for me to be able to offer more of myself to core balance training students, to inspire alumni, if there's any alumni jumping in here, to continue the core balance practice and integrating it into your everyday life, and also for people who are curious about core balance training and what it's all about. What is it? It's a little different. It's not exactly an exercise program for people with back pain. It's deeper than that. It's a bit more than that. So to be able to answer those questions, and so I'll be serving a few different audiences here, and I don't know who you are unless you post in the chat. So that's how this is going to work. I can't really tell who is watching or who is live, but if you post in the chat, I can see that, and I can answer your questions, or I can say hello. I see Kathy just posted a question, and so hello, Kathy, welcome. And it's not necessarily going to be a demonstration, but it will be an explanation of core balance. Core balance is a bit more than an action or an activity that you do. It's a goal. It's something that we strive for. It's a lifestyle. And so we want to achieve core balance, and that takes time, because what tends to happen over our lifetime through modern lifestyle and the positions that we put in our body in on a daily basis we tend to get out of balance in more ways than one, but specifically our muscles tend to get out of balance. And so in order to bring them back towards balance, you can't just do that in a demonstration. It's the reason why we have an entire program to help guide people back to balance and back to bringing muscular balance to their bodies. And so we'll talk about how to do that and what that means. And if you haven't seen the masterclass, I highly recommend that. That's where everyone should start in all this. It's starts by explaining what are muscle imbalances. I dare to say that muscle imbalances are the root cause of nearly all chronic conditions of lower back pain, and even all types of back pain, and lots of hip pain and knee pain too. So there's a lot of conditions and pain that result from muscle imbalances, but at the root of these conditions is this predictable pattern, and that is explained in the master class. And then we talk about who and how you can start to reverse these imbalances and bring your body back towards balance. So thank you for that question, Kathy. And if you stick around, we can get a little bit deeper into what I mean by all this. So I have some goals for this particular first ever live stream that I'm doing. I have done live group coaching calls and lots of video calls, but I have never done a live stream. So this is my first time. There's a few nerves, but you got to start somewhere. So bear with me. I hope we don't have too many technical difficulties. And yeah, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Let me see how many. I'll check if there's anybody here. We got 14, 12 viewers. All right. So, you guys are the guinea pigs. Thanks for being here. So these are my goals. By the way, I have the chat in on the screen, so everybody can see it. If you want to make your video full screen, you'll still be able to see the chat. But if you want to post in the chat, which is what's going to drive a lot of this forward, a lot of these, these live Q&As, they're going to be driven by the questions people ask. If you want to ask a question, you're going to have to type in the chat, which is typically to the, I guess it's reversed. It's going to be this side of your screen, I believe. And this side of your YouTube video, there's a little chat box, and you can post your question in there. I'll see it, and then I'll answer your question. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you so much for the encouragement. I need it today because, like I said, it's my first time, and glad you found the chat, because that's what I'm talking about right now, and that's really what I hope that over time, over these weekly live streams, that we get a real busy chat. We get lots of hype in the chat with our alumni who hopefully start showing up and can tell their stories of their experience in core balance training, the successes they've had. We've had so many inspiring success stories over these last few years that it's incredible. And I get my former students and my alumni, as I like to call them, reaching out to me through email or however, and just updating me on how they're doing and how their lives have been permanently altered by the lessons that are taught in the program. And it's not going to be one specific exercise that healed them. It's integrating a new way of relating to your body. And so we'll get very deep into that kind of stuff. I see another message, another chat from Eve Libra. Oh, hey, Yevgeny. Here's an alumni. Good to see you, man. Let's see. He says, proud to be part of the Core Balance community. And yeah, he used to be on some of the live sessions. It was not a live stream. It was group coaching we used to do on Zoom or something like that. And it was always a pleasure having you, Yevgeny. And I'm glad to see you here today. Thanks for being here. So let's talk a little bit about the goals that I set for today's first session. And these are not strict goals. These are very flexible goals, because I have no idea how today is going to go. But just welcome to everyone. Talk about what these Without Pain Wednesdays are about. So like I said, it's to help the students. It's going to be driven hopefully by the questions, but I will come prepared each week with a topic, just in case there's not a lot of questions. And so today's topic is, what is core balance training? And I actually received that question this week from through an email. This week I finally emailed all the people that have ever signed up on my email list on the Core Balance Training website, or however they found Core Balance Training. People, you enter your email and you get put on the email list. And I've done pretty poorly about emailing those people, and some maybe never heard from me again. It's now my strong suit. I am not a master marketer, but this week I've had some amazing help from some new team members, some new Core Balance training team members, and we're starting to reach out to people and let people know about this movement that's happening. It's really cool to see the amount of people that are being helped. Sinead, I am seeing your chat, and hello to you. Thanks for being here. I would love to get another email from you and see how things are going. I remember we emailed a couple times a few months ago, and so hope things are going well. So I got a message from, I got a response to one of our emails this week, and somebody, maybe he signed up years ago, maybe even up to 4 or 5 years ago, he could have signed up and forgot completely why or what he signed up for. But he got this email from us and he said, "What is core balance training?" And I thought, wow, what a fantastic question. I probably should address that on the live stream. So that's what I'm going to start out with. I already kind of introduced that it's not really just an exercise program. It's much more than that. It's much deeper than that. It doesn't give credit to the exercises for the healing, because it doesn't matter what exercise you're doing. It matters how you're doing it. It matters how you're moving your body, how you're relating to your body while doing that exercise. And so, someone in my profession, I'm a physical therapist, often gets questions, what's the best exercise for fill in the blank? And I always have a hard time answering that question, because you could do an exercise, say the bridge, for example. So the bridge is an excellent exercise for lower back pain. But if I were to tell you, go do the bridge, and tell you nothing else, you might watch a YouTube video, or you might already know the bridge from yoga class or whatever, and go do it. And it could actually make your back pain worse. And that might be because you're using your compensatory muscles, your leg muscles, these imbalances that we have in our body are composed of, what they really are certain muscles that we overuse and other muscles that we underuse. We don't use them enough. And so when we go and do an exercise, we tend to favor the muscles that we overuse. Those are the ones that take over. So you could go do the bridge, and you're doing the bridge using, often it's the quads and hamstrings, maybe even the glutes are involved, but the core could be completely turned off. And so what you're doing is you're strengthening the imbalance. You're strengthening the muscles that you already overuse, and the muscles that people tend to underuse, the underactive muscles, may be completely turned off during that exercise. And so the bridge wouldn't be a perfect exercise for lower back pain. It actually is worsening the problem. It's strengthening the imbalance. And so what core balance training tries to do, and this applies to all exercises, it could be a squat, it could be a deadlift, it could be, you name it. It doesn't matter what the exercise is, it matters how you are connecting to your body and relating to your body to do that exercise. And so that's what core balance training aims to do, is teach you how to connect to your body in a healthy way, to connect to your core and the deeper muscles of the core, the ones that tend to be underactive. And then, so once you learn how to activate those muscles, the deep core muscles, as I call them, those are the ones that support your spine. Those are the ones that provide stability your core and to your spine, so that there's no shearing force, and you're not causing friction, and you're not injuring the tissues in your spine. They're stabilized. And once you learn how to activate those, then you can go ahead and apply that skill to any movement you want. And that movement can become good for you. A movement that used to be bad for you, the very same movement could become good for you depending on how you are doing it, how you're relating to your body, and how you're connecting to your body while you're doing it. So that's the long answer for what is core balance training. And the short answer is it's a movement retraining program. In a nutshell, it helps you to connect with your core, with your deep core, and it gives you a new perspective on your body. It gives you a new way, a new sense, a new awareness of how to go about your day and your day-to-day life. It doesn't have to be exercise. It could be doing the dishes or yard work or picking up your child or your grandchild. It could be anything that you want. And you can have just this, in the beginning, it's a strong awareness that you are intending to apply. But over time, after you've done the program and after you've integrated the skills into your body, it becomes a much more subtle awareness. It becomes more part of you that you can do this activity. Maybe it's gardening, and just have that subtle awareness that you're connected to your core and you're maintaining that connection throughout. And so that's the shorter version of the answer. It's a new perspective on your body and how you relate to it. So the next part of today's goal was to answer questions, and I came prepared. I've actually had a lot of questions this week and last week from current students, and these students may or may not be here live on the call. I see we've got 14 viewers. If you are here, please give me some support and hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, hit subscribe too, and you can get notified anytime I go live. And also if I post new content. My goal is to shift my focus to YouTube more so than I have in the past. I haven't really spent much effort at all with YouTube. It's been like a total back burner thing. And so I think YouTube is a great resource for people who are seeking help and doing research, and I'd like to find those people who are already wanting to help themselves by doing research on YouTube. Those are the best candidates for to have success in core balance training. Got a question from a very valuable moderator, and it says, when doing the push away from the back anchors, how do I know if I'm doing it right? All right, Mr. Simple Feel Good, that's a great question. I actually have one of the questions that another student asked this week is a very similar question to that. So I have I came prepared with that same question. So I'll address that when I address this other question that is very similar to it. Anyway, this live stream is going to be kind of all over the place as it's already happening. Just lots of tangents and me just talking because I don't have a real system yet. But what I was saying is, I've never been good at social media. Sorry if you've ever followed me on any social media, because you probably just had crickets for all this time. And so YouTube is just a much better place for me to find people who are motivated. Part of the core balance training philosophy is that you are the one that has to heal your back, and it's actually impossible for anyone else to do it for you. And I would argue, having worked in the profession now professionally as a physical therapist for 6 years and seen hundreds and hundreds of back patients, that even surgery is not the solution. Not only because the numbers are, the success rate is extremely low, but surgery can be a very valuable tool and a very valuable thing that's necessary in some cases. But it really matters what you do after the surgery that's going to help determine your outcome. So surgery, yes, is necessary, and some people absolutely need it. But the success rate for surgery is highly dependent on what you do before and after. That's my belief after seeing a lot of both successful and failed surgeries. So let's get back into my little goal sheet here. So I'm going to get into some questions, and then that'll lead me to some slides that I've prepared. I prepared some slides to help explain what the anchors are, and I have the questions here, which I just pasted real quick. And then if there's any other questions that come up through chat, again, please, I encourage you to, if you have any questions, just post them, and identify yourself too. Like if you're an existing student, let me know in the chat, or if you're not a student and you're just curious, maybe you've seen the master class, or maybe you don't even know why you're here. Just let me know if you're a student or if you're not. And if you're an alumni, I'll probably recognize you because I know almost all of the names of the students, because I coached them throughout the program, whether it's just through question and answer posts in the lessons or higher level coaching. So I'll probably recognize your name. So let's get into these questions. So I'm starting with this one because I actually got an email from somebody from a response to this announcement of the YouTube live, and she just made a request. So it was the only one I got, and she said, she was hoping for me to talk about this on the live stream. Alice says, seeking simple stretches, exercise for tight lower back for elders, which is really appropriate because I work with elders all the time on a weekly basis here in Santa Barbara, where I live. And so I'm very familiar with your population. She says something feels stuck, but she can bend over without pain. And so this is actually a really common set of symptoms. I fell into this category where I could always bend over and touch my toes, touch the ground. I wasn't like super flexible, but my point is bending forward never hurt. It always felt good. And so there is, in some cases, there's a perception from people that people with back pain shouldn't bend over, or maybe they could hurt themselves. But in the cases with, if somebody has stenosis, which is the closing down of the discs and the vertebrae in the back, bending over is a good thing. It feels good. It opens up those vertebrae and gives space into the discs. And so, anyway, to answer your question, Alice, simple stretches for a tight lower back. Well, this kind of leads me to go down a path where I'm going to talk more about why core balance exists, core balance training exists. When someone has back pain, there's some underlying cause. One of the results of that cause is muscles tighten up, and that's a protective mechanism. So for a lot of people, those muscles that tighten up are the lower back muscles. We have tight lower back muscles, and you can stretch those muscles, and that will feel good. It will offer relief. And then I'm sure you've experienced this, that within a matter of hours, they will tighten back up. And that's because they're tight for a reason. They are tightening for a reason. And if the goal is to have a more long-term result and to not have tight lower back muscles, then we have to address the root of the problem. Why do those lower back muscles want to be tight? Because clearly they want to be tight. And so just stretching them, I would argue that they're not tight simply because you're not stretching them, because there's a lot of people that don't have to stretch their back or don't have to do therapeutic exercises, and they don't have back pain. So the reason that they're tight is something deeper than a lack of stretching them. So in core balance training, what we do is we address the root of the problem. So Alice, if you're here, I would suggest in a more long-term sense that you want to start targeting the muscles that support the spine, the ones that are deeper than those lower back muscles. And once you can turn those on and get those engaged, the lower back muscles, which are protecting, will feel safe to relax and to let go. And so if you haven't seen the masterclass, I talk about that in there. There's probably a link to the masterclass in the not the comments, but the other notes below the video. So anybody that hasn't seen the masterclass, at least after this stream, I would strongly suggest taking a look at that just to get a better idea of what I'm talking about and kind of bring you up to a level of knowledge to where I can say things a little higher, some higher level things, and they make sense. So yeah, this question is a very good reflection of why core balance training was created. I spent years, if you don't know, I have a personal history of chronic lower back pain of over 10 years, and I spent years addressing these muscle imbalances that occur in our bodies on the surface. I stretched the tight muscles, and I tried to strengthen the weak muscles. And what I noticed was the tight muscles that I stretched would always tighten back up. Like in the beginning, they would last for like a day or a day at the most, but after a while of getting to this daily routine of becoming dependent on my stretches, they would just start tightening back up in a matter of hours. And so like 2 hours later, my muscles I'd spend hours on my body every day in the gym, and within hours they would return. It was almost like pointless, but I had become dependent on that pattern of just doing that to try and stay out of pain. So let's get on to the next question here. I don't see any more coming through in the chat. So we've got Mike. He is a current student, and I think he's still in that first week. He says, I notice I'm doing I noticed I'm doing this by engaging my abs to slightly try to bring my thighs toward my head. This question is not very relevant. Let's go to the next one. This is also Mike. He says, very helpful. You probably get this as a frequently asked question, but to correct the muscle imbalances, why wouldn't it work to just do lots of crunches to tighten abs and lots of toe touches to lengthen the low back muscles? I started talking about this just a minute ago, and I knew this question was coming. So I spent years trying to do this, and I wrote that in my answer to him. And at the same time, the stretching was one thing, but I also tried doing exercises to strengthen my abs, whether that be sit-ups or planks or crunches or all the therapeutic exercises that you can do, such as bird dog and clamshell. And what I found was that in some cases, I would get benefit from those, and that was great. And it kept me out of pain for periods of time. But as soon as I stopped doing the exercises, the pain came back. And so, like I said before, I was dependent on those exercises, and I had to go to the gym. I was going to the gym for a couple hours a day for years, and then in other cases, these exercises like a sit-up, or Mike mentions crunches, could actually exacerbate the problem. And I would feel, I'd be like, well, I know that I need to strengthen my abdominals. I'm going to do sit-ups, and then that night or the next day, my back would be even more sore. So why does that happen? Why can't you just correct the muscle imbalances that I talk about in the masterclass, where, your lower back muscles get tight, abdominals get lengthened. There's a lot more muscles involved that we see on the surface, like the glutes, they get lengthened. The hip flexors tend to get tight. This is called cross posture syndrome. It's very well known in the industry. It was made popular not popular. It was a long time ago that Vladimir Yanda, who was a pioneer of physical medicine, I believe he was a medical doctor, but more in the physical medicine side, he coined the term cross posture syndrome. And it's a term to describe the predictable pattern of muscle imbalances that we see. I talk about it in the masterclass. It's not new. This information is founded upon this research of geniuses, much smarter than I am. And so I just explain it in the masterclass in a way that's digestible by people who may not be a medical professional. And so this question probably came from that. So we have these muscles that are out of balance. Some are tight, some are lengthened. Why can't we just tighten the ones that are lengthened and stretch the ones that are tight? So I already started talking about that. And if you've ever tried it, you have your answer experientially that this just does not last. And so it requires me to go into a deeper explanation of what muscle imbalances really are and why they happen, to be able to give this answer of why it doesn't work to do this. So what we see on the surface, this cross posture syndrome of certain muscles being tight, is only what is happening on the surface. And there's something happening much deeper, pun intended, in the body that is the root of this. And so you have to be aware of that and be able to grasp and conceptualize that to be able to understand this answer. But the surface muscles are tightening. The protective ones are tightening because they're protecting something wrong. And what's wrong is the deep muscles in the body tend to become underactive. We tend to become disconnected from them. We get disconnected from our core through our lifestyle, through modern lifestyle. As I sit here on a computer and then spent the whole morning on a computer, I am doing exactly what is wrong with our modern lifestyle. Is lots of sitting, lots of inactivity, lots of repetitive trauma, where I don't need to be using my core to sit here. I could start, and I probably have, just sitting here, start sinking down lower and lower. And so this is a good reminder to reset and take a breath and connect to my anchors, right? So we get disconnected from these deep muscles that get no attention. We don't know their names. I could name them. There's hundreds of them, but we name them in groups. So, for example, the multifidi are tens and dozens of muscles in the spine. We call them the multifidi. They're some of the ones that tend to shut down and turn off. And so we know from research, I learned this in PT school, that they don't spontaneously return after they start to shut down, and they actually begin to atrophy and get smaller and eat themselves and go away. And they don't spontaneously come back unless we target them. And that's just one group. There's literally hundreds of tiny little muscles in our spine, and then layers of muscles around the front. And I have all these slides. I might as well use them. I love some of these pictures that they are in the master class that show the layers of the muscles. And so these are part of the deep core. From in the front, we've got 4 or 5, depending on how you look at it, layers in the front. And when we do sit-ups, when we do crunches, we're really only targeting this one muscle here called the rectus abdominis. It's on both sides. This is cut in half, but this muscle is designed to move. These muscles on the sides that wrap all the way around, and the muscles in the back that attach to the spine. And there's lots of much smaller ones that you can't even see here. Though these ones are designed to stabilize the spine and create stability. These ones here are designed to create pressure, like a corset. They're designed to squeeze. And when you squeeze and you increase the pressure inside the abdomen, that increases the stability of that chamber. And so you could do a sit-up with these movement muscles here, the six-pack abs, and these could be completely shut off and the spine not stabilized. And that could be causing friction and damage in the spine. And it could lead to any number of conditions. If the resulting outcome, it could be a herniated disc, or it could be stenosis, or it could be, you name it. It could be spondylolisthesis, which is a very common one in athletes. The outcome is just the result of lack of stability, lack of support. We want to support our spine. And so the goal is to be able to do the exercise with these turned on, and to reactivate these muscles and learn how to use them when we are doing the exercise. And so that's the imbalance. These big muscles, I can try and find another photo that has a better example of the whole body. Here's the beginning. So we tend to overuse our thigh muscles and our leg muscles and our six-pack abs and our chest muscles. These are all the surface muscles of the body. And the imbalance is between these surface muscles and the deep muscles we were just looking at. Those are the ones that tend to shut down. We don't really need to use them all the time in our society. And so the goal is to reactivate them and try and narrow the imbalance, try and get the deep muscles stronger without strengthening these superficial muscles. And so once you have that understanding, is that the imbalance is not really just between muscles on the surface, but the imbalance, the true source of the imbalance is the deep muscles versus, or the imbalance between the deep muscles and the superficial muscles. Then we can begin to answer this question. And that question was, why can't I just stretch the tight and strengthen the weak? So once we understand that, am I looking at, yeah, we're on the right screen. Once we can understand that, then we can know that you can strengthen the weak muscles, but the weak muscles that you want to strengthen are the ones that get no attention. They're the deep ones inside your core. And once you can strengthen those, then, and learn how to use them in your day-to-day life, then the lower back muscles, the tight superficial muscles, the hip flexors, the chest muscles, the neck muscles that tend to get tight, those ones can begin to let go and relax and stop protecting. And it doesn't even require you to stretch them. They simply can just let go of their grasp on the body that's trying to protect the body because something is wrong. So it's a complicated answer, and it probably wasn't as straightforward as you'd like it to be, Mike. I did write an answer to you because you posted this in the course, but yeah, if you've ever tried that, if you've ever tried just stretching and strengthening, the problem is it just doesn't last. So it looks like we've been going, it's 12:45. I'm going to go for 15 more minutes. It looks like we got 15 likes. Awesome. Thank you for the likes. We got more likes than viewers right now. So grateful for that. And I got a question just now coming through from Kimberly. Needling, good question. I will prioritize these live questions over the questions I came prepared with. So dry needling is, I believe what you're referring to, is a form of, it's kind of like acupuncture, but a more orthopedic approach. And it has a purpose. It has a role. I did my thesis for my DPT on dry needling, actually, and its effectiveness for knee pain, basically. When the kneecap tends to track laterally or get out of the groove and starts to kind of rub on one side of the knee, it causes pain. It's the number one cause of physical therapy patients going to PT. It's the number one cause of knee pain. It's called lateral tracking or patellofemoral pain syndrome. So I did my thesis on using needling or dry needling for treating this syndrome. And what I found was that it was very effective. I had this syndrome at one point in my life, and so I got to be also a patient of dry needling. I did my internship in New Zealand, where dry needling is legal for physical therapists to do, and very popular. And so I worked in a clinic where they used it all the time, and I got to use it on myself. So yes, it's effective. what it does. So for anybody that has no clue what it is, like I said, it's kind of like acupuncture. They use needles, they stick them into your muscle, and the goal is to hit what's called a trigger point and create the muscle to relax. So the trigger point is a knot. It's the same thing as when you have a knot in your muscle. Everybody has one like right around here, unless you're perfect. And so this knot or trigger point is basically a ball of stagnant electricity. We have electricity running through our bodies, and it's just trapped in there. And so the needle can go in, and it just like instantly releases this knot. It's much, much more effective than massage for trigger point massage, which could take potentially like 5 sessions, 5-hour-long sessions to get a knot out, where this trigger point therapy through dry needling can do it instantaneously. It sounds not believable, but that's what happens. It releases the electricity. And so very effective for that. And at the same time, it would want to be combined with other treatments. Or especially the strengthening, activating side, because remember, in the same way that we have tight muscles, like our lower back muscles, they are tight for a reason. They are protecting, right? And we can stretch them, but they're going to tighten back up. Well, we have to think about dry needling in the same way. So if you have a trigger point, it formed for a reason. If you have a knot in your muscle, it forms for a reason. And so just simply releasing that knot or the trigger point is great in relief and very effective, but it's going to return unless we address the reason why it formed. And typically the reason why muscles tighten up is to protect, because some other muscle is not doing its job. And so this muscle is overworking to compensate for an underactive muscle that is underactive, underworking, and not doing what it's supposed to be doing. And so if you can address that imbalance by activating the muscle that's not doing its job and teaching it how to do its job in conjunction with the dry needling, then that trigger point or that knot may not return. It doesn't have a reason to come back. And so that would be the role that I see for needling, and also other treatments and modalities in general, like chiropractic and most modalities in general. They all have a role. They all have a place, or they wouldn't exist. And so to say that something like chiropractic doesn't work is not true. It's not accurate. It does work. It's very effective for doing the thing that it does. But it's not the full picture, and it's not the full solution. So use it for what it's needed for, and complete the picture by addressing the root of the problem, and not just trying to correct the problem, the result of the problem. Kim says you started receiving it on your traps, and okay, so the suboccipital muscles, I'm guessing. So that, I'm guessing, is it neck pain or headaches potentially that you are receiving it for? Let me know if have you had any results from it? Has it helped? I'm curious to know. You're very welcome. Yeah, so you're not doing a bad thing. It's dry needling. I mentioned legal in New Zealand. Dry needling is not legal for physical therapists to perform on patients in California. So in the state in which I live, the acupuncturists have a strong grip on using needles for therapy. They are understandably protecting their own profession, and it's somewhere in the law that they are the only ones that can do it and PTs can't. But if I were to go to Nevada or Arizona, I could use my PT license to treat patients with dry needles. So that's just an interesting fact and reflection of our legal system. It would be great for us to be able to use here. Like I said, it's really effective. It's kind of magical how fast that this can happen. The traps are really painful, though. You mentioned you're getting it on your traps. Oh, I hope that you are tolerating that quite well. And the traps are just one trigger point that almost everybody has. Is usually extremely dense, and the dry needling may not release that one completely in one treatment, but it does release other trigger points, like in your quads, like the ones that would be contributing to the patellofemoral pain syndrome in the knee. Those ones, for me, could be released instantly. Jenny, I see your chat. It says, in which sequence best to combine core balance exercises, bodybuilding and muscle release, e.g., for example, foam roller, dry needling, massage guns? Okay, that's a really good question. Kim, I see that you said it didn't work in one treatment. Yeah, that upper trap one is going to take a few sessions because it's probably been there for, depending on how old you are, it's been there for decades. And yeah, it's hard to reverse something like that in seconds. So sequence, Yevgeny. So I see core balance, bodybuilding, and then we'll call that muscle release as a group. Yeah, I would say core balance is like the base. It's so gentle and so it's so just subtle that it would be probably the base of everything. Almost anything that you're going to do, you would want to start with just activating your deep core. Even if you're going to go stretch or do the foam roller next, you would want your deep core to be active. You would want to be connected to those deep core muscles while rolling yourself out on the foam roller, because that takes a lot of, you're getting your body sideways and you're like, it's almost like doing side planks at times, and you would want your core to be functioning optimally while doing that foam rolling. And so core balance, phase 1 first, and then bodybuilding is pretty much core balance phase 2 and 3 if you're going to be doing squats and deadlifts, where you're just going to apply more weight to, say, the core balance training, squat and deadlift. And so that would be potentially, I think you may have named it in the order that I would suggest. However, if you had like a specific issue with a muscle that's not letting go, then you could potentially address that before getting into the bodybuilding, because bodybuilding is high level. It's high exertional, high demand on the muscles, and you would want them to be functioning optimally for that bodybuilding, but it's also good to do some cool down stretching type things after the bodybuilding. So I would say core balance, then you're clarifying, I mean, if I do it repetitively, each of them over time. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Like I would, if it were all in one session, I would start out with some core balance, back anchor, front anchor, activate the core, and then I would address any major stuck muscles or tight muscles with a foam roll. Then I would do the bodybuilding, and then I would do a cool down, which would also involve, some stretching and stuff like that. I'll talk a little bit about your examples. So massage gun is not going to be part of your workout. I think of a massage gun as like a nighttime type thing. I wouldn't do it before a workout. I would do it either after or not even part of the workout. Just kind of like, it's almost like getting a massage. You wouldn't get a massage right before a workout. And you could get a massage right after a workout, but it doesn't really intuitively make a lot of sense. You get benefits from the workout. You want to feel those endorphins and move around after your workout. And then maybe the massage would be later on or another day. So I would treat the massage gun in the same way. Dry needling is something that would be ideal to do before it gets the muscles in a more natural state. I would do it before workout, or like say if you're talking, now I'm going to answer it a little differently. If you're talking consecutive days, you're saying doing them repeatedly over and over, so over time. So I would say dry needling could be Monday, and do a little workout that day, later that day, and then but you would want to do if you have a full on workout, you would want to do that the next day. Let a little healing to take place, because you are causing some micro trauma with the needles. It's totally worth it, but that is what's happening. And then so the dry needling will come before the workout, the massage potentially after, and core balance you can do every day. The core balance is how you get to the gym. Core balance is how you get to the physical therapist. How are you sitting in your car? How are you getting out of your car? How are you walking into the clinic? I will show this slide for those of you that are still here. We still got 10 people here. That was amazing. Core balance is the blue part of the circle of our life. And the things that you mentioned, Yevgeny, all of those things fit into the gray slice. And maybe that gray slice could be larger for you if athletics are part of your life. But even the most highest level athletes, the vast majority of their time and their life is spent doing movements that are in this category, non-exercise related movements. Sitting, walking, standing, reaching, doing things just to get from point A to point B, or just sitting in point C like I've been doing for the last hour. And so this is core balance. It's the blue. And so the answer is core balance is before you get to the gym, after you get to the gym, and all the time. But I know, Yevgeny, you're an alumni, and you know that. I know that you're referring to specific, like the meditations, probably in the beginning, the back anchor connection, the front anchor connection, would be great to do right before a workout. Kim, I totally agree. Movement is medicine. Motion is lotion is another one. One of my favorites is if you keep moving, they can't throw dirt on you. which means it's a kind of a morbid statement, but never stop moving, because the day you stop moving, you're done. We do that, like even in my age group, even younger, we're just like spending too much time not moving. And if you think back into history before screens, we probably moved all the time unless we were reading or writing. But before reading and writing, you know, if you believe in that, we were still here, then I don't know when we weren't moving. And that's how our bodies developed, through movement. So keep moving it. We have reached the hour mark, and I am going to wind down. I appreciate everybody that was here for this first ever live stream, and I hope that you got something out of it. And if you ever want to come back, you can hit subscribe, and we will be coming on every Wednesday, and just starting to grow this thing and get more viewers and more questions every Wednesday. Hopefully that's the goal for Without Pain Wednesday. So keep coming back, and I'm super grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the alumni that continued through the program and had life-changing success. I'm grateful for the current students that are here testing out this new weird thing called core balance training. And I'm especially grateful for the people who have not yet experienced or discovered core balance training, because we were all there, and I was there for so many years. At a certain point, I reached the point where it was half of my life. I remember going, man, half of my life I've been suffering for back pain. And I was that's where I was. And so the curiosity to learn and to grow, keep going. If you don't stop, if you don't give up, you will find your solution. And maybe it's this. The best thing I could tell you to do is watch the master classes if you haven't. And if you have and you're still curious, then do the free trial. We offer a free trial. It's a 7-day trial, and it's $0. We do require a credit card. That's to protect us from being taken advantage of, but it's completely free, and you can discover what core balance training is about through doing it and experiencing it and seeing if it's a good fit for you. And if it is, you can continue, and if not, then you can cancel the trial and keep searching. But one thing I can say is, for the people that have stuck with it, man, I am impressed beyond all my expectations, the amount of success people have had. So thank you, all of you, for being here. Hi, Dana. Hey, Mitch. Good to see you, Mitch. Here's another alumni, Mitch. I remember you. Says, thank you for this. Your approach solved my issues, and I've been pain-free for 2 years now. So that kind of thing is what drives me to keep going forward. This is not my comfort zone. This is not what I think of myself wanting to do and put myself out there and go live. But it's people like you, Mitch, that you stuck with the program, and you have the results, and the messages like that give me goosebumps. And I know there's a lot more to come, and so it's my calling to put this out there more and help this global epidemic, especially in the United States, but the entire world. Back pain is over arthritis, if you can believe that. And so we need this. We need something like this. And thank you, Dana, as well, for being here. And I will do that, and then get down on the floor and give some love to your body that does so much for you. Signing off, everyone. Have a great day, have a great evening or morning, wherever you are, and hope to see you again. Take care.